Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, my name is Demigod Shmurda here, and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to another episode of Arrowverse Analysis. It's close to Halloween, and I wanted to do something fun, so I thought I'd dress up for the occasion, but wearing this cowl makes my forehead look massive, and makes me understand how the actress playing Mina Dewan must have felt in Flash Season 8, so let me take care of that real quick. There we go. That's better. The end of Arrow's first season is upon us, and that means that the season should probably start building towards its finale. Despite the season's episodic structure, the major plot of the Undertaking has been developing in almost every episode so far. But it's time for that plot to take center stage as the villains of the week go away. Newer seasons of superhero series, the DC ones especially, tend to go too plot-heavy from beginning to end, the results of which makes it feel like your plot drags on. Sometimes this works really well, and other times it doesn't. And honestly, it's left me yearning to revisit the time in superhero shows where villains of the week were a thing, because nowadays, they just aren't. Arrow's first season expertly builds its main plot in with villains of the week. So even though the plot moves along slower than shorter, more recent seasons, it never feels like it because there's always something else going on. I don't just yearn to revisit the time of Villains of the Week, because Eric Wallace's godforsaken interlude episodes would have me covered there. Specifically, I wish that this form of storytelling was still a thing in the modern day. A good mix of Villains of the Week and season-long storylines mashed together. When you don't allow yourself to have Villains of the Week, when you don't build things in the background and have your protagonists learn small things about the main plot every episode, your season is perpetually stuck in second gear. And it could leave your audience wondering why things escalated so quickly once you get to the finale. Looking at you, Stargirl Season 2, Superman and Lois Season 2, and Falcon Winter Soldier. I had to throw a Marvel example in there, and WandaVision, Hawkeye, and Moon Knight all actually built to their finales, so... Honestly, I attribute the abandonment of episodic storytelling to writers feeling they need to cram things into shorter and shorter seasons. The audience doesn't have the attention span for 23-episode seasons anymore. The results are that the Marvel Netflix shows like Daredevil and Jessica Jones condensed things down to a total of 13 episodes, then The Boys came in and dropped these storylines down to 8 episodes, then the MCU series brought it down to 6 episodes, and The Flash's last season may have had 20 episodes, but 6 of them were filler episodes, and 3 of their last 6 arcs have been 5 episodes or less. It's a fundamental problem with superhero storytelling right now, because the seasons aren't given enough time to develop new characters. Trust me, I could not be more excited that Daredevil Born Again is going to be 18 episodes long. The reason seasons like Arrow Season 1 and Flash Season 1 are thought of as some of the best seasons of superhero storytelling is that they allowed the audience to get to know all the players involved, move the story along subtly, had the characters naturally figure everything out as opposed to being told everything right before the final episode, and just had fun along the way with some Villains of the Week. That's why these seasons worked so well. And once the seasons reached its logical point to move from Villains of the Week to main plot, they're able to do that with aplomb because the pieces are already in place for them to do so. By the first minute of your finale, you should have no more setup to do, because it is time for the execution. If this is your first episode and you're wondering how my rating system works, there's a detailed description down below, along with a link to all my other episodes of Overanalysis. But I encourage you to watch this one first, I'm sure you'll still enjoy it. Next episode will be the final one of the season, so I'll be doing a Season 1 retrospective and totaling up my previous scores before heading into Season 2. Also, I decided that I'm going to count this line from Unfinished Business.
This guy didn't fail the city. The city failed him.
On the "you have failed this city" counter. Not only does Oliver say the phrase, albeit with a few words swapped out, but it subverts it in such a great way that I'd feel stupid for not counting it. In fact, I do feel stupid for not counting it in the last video, so it's going up on the counter now. For future reference though, I'm not gonna count when somebody says something like this.
I didn't build our city! I failed it!
Or this.
The truth is I haven't done enough for this city. My city. I failed it. But I promise you, I am not finished yet. I promise you that this city will be better for all of us.
The paraphrasing goes a little too far there, in my opinion. It's gotta be in the structure of blank has failed blank for it to count. With that out of the way, though, let's return to the overanalysis. Michael Schultz returns to direct Arrow's 21st episode, The Undertaking, which first aired on May 1st, 2013. When Felicity gets a lead on where Walter may be being held, she and Oliver team up to find him. Meanwhile, Laurel tries to find out why Tommy broke up with her and comes to a shocking conclusion. What? Ooh, that was cool.
Harold Backman, you have failed this city.
Shouldn't we just turn this over to, I don't know, the IRS?
We will, just as soon as you return the money to the rightful owners.
Backman's files are all protected with an asymmetric encryption algorithm.
So it's going to take a while to break in.
Days, at least. When are you planning on making peace with it? You promised you'd help him track down Floyd Lawton, and you
Made a choice that I can live with. If he can't, then I don't need him.
For years, we've been forcing the city's worst to do what is best. Leverage them to help us save the city, but it's not working.
We just need to take some more time.
Did Rebecca get more time? Did the man who Frank's daughter give her any quarter? Maybe it's because the Glades can't be fixed.
Are you suggesting we somehow leveled the Glades?
And I'm not saying we should. If we did, wouldn't suspicion fall on us?
Not if the destruction appears to be caused by a natural disaster.
You can't create a natural disaster.
Have you ever heard of Unideck Industries? They have an idea. My sources tell me they're 5 years away from prototype.
Dude, everything is coming together now. The stuff with Unidac, Walter, everything is coming together already in this episode. What happened with Frank?
Tommy broke up with me,
It's probably just cold feet.
like it was with you. You don't sleep with your girlfriend's sister unless you're looking to blow the relationship up.
If you still want to be with Tommy, do what we should have done. Talk to each other.
I hacked King Fidelity and put together a list of all the deposits Backman made last year.
Felicity, what good does that do us if we don't know whose money it was?
Look at the biggest deposit Backman made last year,
$2 million on December 12th.
the day Walter disappeared.
Ah!
What if one of Backman's clients was paid $2 million to kidnap Walter?
Then we find out which client it was.
I was afraid my headphones are gonna fall off while I was doing the head bob.
Dominic Alonzo. Name ring any bells?
Yeah. Alonzo runs the biggest underground casino in Starling City when he's not busy kidnapping. That casino has its own private army. We need to access Alonzo's computer, but without setting off any alarms.
I can count cards.
I'm not letting you walk.
The reason I joined you in the first place was to find Walter, and for the first time we have a real chance at finding him. You have to let me do this.
I could be talking out of my ass, but this looks an awful lot like the promo image for Colin Salmon, I think is his name, playing Walter. Like ones that you would get before like a season airs, kind of like along with like the season poster.
It still feels like yesterday that day. When she called my cell phone for the first time, I remember being annoyed. I shut my phone off. A little after midnight, 2 SCPD officers showed up at my office. All I remember them saying was, she'd been shot. After the cops left, I sat in my office the rest of the night listening to Rebecca's messages. She kept calling my name, gasping for air. I listened to my wife die over and over and over again.
My choice, damn.
I can't imagine, Malcolm.
Try,
Try, he says!
and then tell me you wouldn't be prepared to do what I am.
I know Oliver didn't help you find your brother's killer, and that hurts. You gotta know if it was your life on the line and not just your very understandable vendetta, he would be there for you.
And I don't want a partnership with those kind of qualifications, Felicity.
He needs you.
And when Oliver is ready to say that, he knows where I live.
Tommy, I love you, and I think that you still love me, so whatever problems that you think that we have, I know that if we face them together...
You don't understand.
Then help me understand.
You belong with Oliver. He's still in love with you.
Hell of a way to phrase that.
The plan is for me to get caught counting cards in an underground casino filled with hardened criminals.
So you can get a friendly warning from Alonzo and plant a bug on his office computer.
Feels really good having you inside me. And by you, I mean your voice. And by me, I mean my ear.
I don't know, do I put that line in the episode? It feels like it's too easy.
The Markov device passed its final beta test.
Markov device. Reference to Bryon Markov, who Geoforce in the DC Comics.
Moira, you may be surprised to know that I sometimes waver in my convictions. But your friendship, your endless support, always gives me the strength to carry on. After all, you and I will always have a connection.
Yeah! Thea!
I'm just sorry that Robert's not here to celebrate with us.
I'm sorry I had to take him from you.
Admittance.
If anyone's to blame for his death, it's me. I know tonight was just another Ted Cord fundraiser, but...
Ted Cord is one of the many people who's played or who has taken the role of Blue Beetle in DC Comics.
Moira, there's something I need to talk to you about.
Robert, if this is what I think it is, I don't want to know her name.
No, it's about Malcolm.
I thought that was something that season 7 retconned in. No, they're actually referencing it here. I mean, obviously, yes, I've said in the past, yeah, oh, you know, it's actually true that Robert cheated on Moira, but the fact that she says it so adamantly definitely means it's happened before. Which means that season 7 might not have even actually retconned that. That may have just, like, that actually was canon in season 1, and they just didn't do anything with it until season 7. See, that's different than a retcon.
He wants to level the glades.
And how does Malcolm propose to evacuate an entire section of the city?
He doesn't. About a month before the opening of the steel factory, the one in the glades, I was approached by a local councilman who wanted money. I told him I'd never paid a bribe in my life. We got into an argument. I didn't want to hurt him, but he fell.
I thought season 5 retconned that in too. Wow!
Whatever wrongs you've committed, whatever mistakes you've made, preventing this horror is your chance to make it right.
Can you come with me?
Oh, look, there's the bathroom. Should have known the manager's office would be down the hall and to the right of the bathroom.
Saying that to tip off Oliver. I'm smart.
Do you know where the term 86 comes from?
Yes, it happens, I do. It's from Prohibition. God, you know, I'm just gonna stop talking.
And now it means to ban someone who's cheating. You're 86th.
Thank you. Thank you.
You see, the thing about card counters is that sometimes they work with a partner.
He punched a dude through a door! Oh, he threw- oh, dude! Oliver did not flinch! Oh!
I heard you never miss.
I don't.
It's in the bullseye and it's a fucking explosive arrow. God damn.
Where's Walter Steele?
I delivered him, and they killed him.
For the record, not dead.
I need to talk to you both. It's about Walter. One of Mr. Diggle's army buddies works for the FBI now. And they got news tonight. Walter's gone.
This isn't right.
Where are you going?
Out.
It's 10 o'clock at night.
I need some air.
Mom, you're in shock.
Don't tell me what or how I feel, Oliver.
If we were to wage a war with Malcolm Merlin, we will lose. My family has already suffered enough.
And I have no desire to endanger mine. Fortunately, there's another option. 6 months ago, Malcolm started buying up buildings in the glades through an offshore company called Sagittarius.
Sagittarius is coming back too.
Now, if we can quietly buy up the rest before he can, he won't be able to gain the control he needs. Do you still have your contacts in China?
I already have a flight planned for Shanghai tomorrow. Come with me.
We shouldn't travel together. Malcolm might get word. He already knows I have my doubts. Besides, I'm getting the urge to take out the Queen's Gambit for another voyage.
We know who Chen's contacts are. His contacts are the fucking Triad.
Hey, Ollie, where do you keep the bottle opener in this thing?
Dude, they even referenced that's the line that Sarah said on the Queen's Gambit, dude. That's Sarah's first line.
Obviously, we can't hang out at my house.
Why? Because your father threatened to tase me the last time that I closed the door to your bedroom?
So wouldn't it be nice to have a little place of our own?
This is a little fast, Laurel.
I feel like we're ready to take the next step.
Let's do it.
And he was trying to blow it up because...
You promised if I cooperated with the Undertaking, Walter wouldn't be harmed.
He hasn't been. I'm a man of my word, Moira.
I think we both know better than that.
Like you said, Moira, we have an agreement. Walter would stay in my custody until the undertaking was complete.
Although, why did Oliver end up at Merlin Global? Why did he follow his mom, considering he was not suspicious of his mom? Although I guess that just like, oh, that instant reaction, like, I have to go, you know, it kind of gave off the impression of, like, I know something, so he must have followed her there. I don't know, it's a possible explanation. Cool reveal! Cool way to reveal that, you know, they were building up that thing too, and now it's all coming back right at the end, dude. And a lot of what they built up throughout, like, the week-by-week stuff.
Walter's alive. I need you to pull up Malcolm Merlin's phone records. He made a call from his office to wherever Walter is being kept at 10:30 p.m.
And this time he knows she was talking to Malcolm too. It wasn't muffled through the wall.
LUDs show he made a call to a tenement complex located in Bloodhaven.
He's got a plane. Sure. Are you guys ready? It's time! Before Daredevil, there was Arrow. And Arrow had the original hallway fight. It's time! It's time! Oh! Oh, there we go. Dude, that just, again, is a testament to Oliver's strength. Oh! Oh! He takes this guy. 1, 2, 3. That guy is totally dead, and Oliver totally put 3 holes in that concrete. Or at least 2. One of them was the light. That guy is mega dead. And that, again, is just another showing of Oliver's strength, dude. Oliver did all of that. He beat all of those guys by himself.
Mr. Steele, what's happening? You're going home.
And they shaved him. Looks like Oliver got a shave, too.
Why can't you just fly to China?
I think it's better the less you know.
Got room for one more?
I could use an extra hand on the ship. Let the kid take the boat out with the old man.
Sarah, you here? You might want to circle around the block a few times because your sister just showed up.
I wanted to bring you something.
Oh, that's where he got the photo of her. He must feel like fucking shit.
The bomb is in place. And there's a storm front moving in along the Gambit's projected course.
When the Queen's Gambit goes down, no one will suspect it's anything other than an act of God. How's Walter? Was he able to identify any of his captors?
No, they'll get what's coming to them.
And there we go. They're finally... Oliver at least knows. Malcolm doesn't, but they're face to face now.
I talked to Tommy yesterday, and the reason he broke up with me is because he thinks that you and I still belong together.
I just want you to be happy.
Then will you please go talk to Tommy for me? Say that you and I are over. That you're not still in love with me.
I can't do that because it wouldn't be true. And I have enough lies in my life already.
I guess you do know where I live.
I've always known where you live.
He was joking about it earlier.
You were right about my mother and about her involvement in the undertaking. She's working with Malcolm Merlin.
I'm gonna give the plot a 5. This is one of those episodes where everything feels necessary and the plot is firing on all cylinders. This episode brings pretty much everything back to relevancy in some way. You might think that Walter's rescue might be oddly timed during the season, or not even that necessary since it seemed like the writers moved on from Walter narratively, but remember that Walter's kidnapping was what kicked off the back half of the season. It would only be fitting that his rescue kicked off the climax. The stuff at the club might, on the surface, just exist for an action scene, but it does serve its purpose in getting everything in place for the end of the episode. Not to mention, a lot of the things they do in the club sequence are really clever, like having Felicity get caught on purpose and telling Oliver where Alonzo's office is through her comms. I think this is a good use of the episode's flashbacks as well, giving us a lot of backstory for the older characters like Malcolm, Moira, and Robert. I guess the one thing in the episode that might not have been done as well was Laurel's subplot, but that really just depends on your investment in that storyline, in my opinion. It isn't necessarily bad, it's just the least interesting thing happening in the episode, because Oliver has more chemistry with basically any other female character, including Felicity, and they already dropped the hint that she and Oliver were gonna get together back in Salvation. And by the end of the episode, it's actually Oliver that has the upper hand on the identity front, knowing that Malcolm is behind everything, while Malcolm is the one who's fighting a faceless enemy at this point. It turns the trope of the villain finding out the hero's identity and the hero playing catch-up on its head in a really effective way. Also, Oliver's physical strength increases dramatically this episode. He has enough strength to be able to do this, and this, and this, and this. It doesn't have much bearing on the plot yet, but it does make for more destructive action scenes. Characterization's gonna be a 4. The flashbacks especially do a really good job expanding upon Robert, Moira, and Malcolm's characters here. Malcolm's especially. You're really able to understand why the Undertaking matters so much to him. He played those messages of his wife dying over and over by choice, locking himself in a purgatory of his own making because he didn't pick up the phone. He feels responsible for his wife's death, so he feels it's his responsibility to wipe the Glades off the map. I also like Oliver this episode. He's not above admitting that he's wrong when there's evidence involved, so of course he's going to go to dig with the information that he just gathered. Laurel is either good or bad depending on your investment in her subplot, and I don't really have much else to say outside of what I brought up here and during the episode. We'll go back up to a 5 for the visuals. The original hallway fight is just as cool as you think it is. And while I don't typically like fights with a lot of cuts, this is an intense and well-shot fight, apart from a few awkward moments toward the beginning and the end. Of course, there's novelty in watching it regardless of your thoughts on it, though. Like I said during the episode, before Daredevil, Arrow had the bar set when it came to hallway fights. And the shot of Oliver and Malcolm face to face at the end works really well because even though Malcolm is still in control of the board, Oliver finally knows whose game he's playing. It's probably on the lower end of a 5 if I were to do comparatively. Like, out of the 5s I've given, I would say it's The Odyssey, then Salvation, and then a bit farther down I would put The Undertaking, but it's still a 5. The visuals very much do enhance the episode. Its pretty clear importance is a 5, and I don't think I need to explain why. And I had a lot of fun with this episode, so entertainment's a 4. It probably should be a 5, but there's something keeping me from giving this episode a perfect score, and I'm just not really sure what it is, but I'm gonna go with a 4 as opposed to a 5. It doesn't really have that X factor that an episode like The Odyssey or Salvation has, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean it's a bad episode. That gives The Undertaking a score of 23 out of 25, bumping ourselves back up after, the last couple contrived episodes. Now let's get into this next one and see if we can end this batch on just as high of a note. John Baring returns to direct Darkness on the Edge of Town, Arrow's 22nd episode, which first aired on May 8th, 2013. Armed with the knowledge that Malcolm is behind the Undertaking, Oliver and co. try to figure out how it'll be accomplished. Meanwhile, on the island, Fires executes his plan to destabilize China's economy, painting Yao Fei as the face of it.
I did everything Mr. Merlin required of me.
He knows, Dr. Markov, and he thanks you for your service.
Oh, look at that shot! Oh! That... subsidiary of Queen Consolidated, it said there. Dun, 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 dun.
I've been watching your mother for days now, Oliver, and nothing. Occasionally she goes out to dinner. She seems to particularly like the salmon tartare at table salt.
Oh, table salt. There we go. Call back to that, too. That was in, what, Vendetta?
I'm linked into her home and office phone. Nothing out of the ordinary. Are you okay?
My mom and my best friend's dad are involved in a conspiracy that may have dire consequences for the city, and I'm pretty sure they murdered my father. I'm not planning on using the word okay again anytime soon.
We have to find out what this undertaking is.
I gotta ask her. Friendly mother-son chat.
After you disappeared with Sarah, I was sorry I ever knew you. But now, things have happened that I never thought would. You coming home, my parents being in the same room. Maybe I'm finally ready to admit that I still have feelings for you too.
I like Laurel as a character now, but I still don't like these two together.
Everything's exactly as you left it.
I didn't have the heart to change a thing. Here's Fire's camp, and Scylla. Still can't tell if it's CG. See, this is the thing that I was talking about with this guy from the cave, was that he shows up a singular other time. But seriously, it does not matter that it was this guy.
HKIA, this is Ferris Air Flight 636.
Ferris Air? That's a Green Lantern reference.
Adjust course to 0.6 degrees south. Just looking to make sure you avoid a little turbulence.
That's a commercial airliner. Fires, it's not like it can land here.
I'm going to destroy it.
And now that I know that that plane has China White on it...
We need to get a list of all UNIDAC employees and find out what they're working on here.
Apparently it was a tight group. Anyone who knows anything about the project is dead. And the copy got fried all their computers and burned their research.
You're the one who said you'd help me find the vigilante.
You don't need to find him to be somebody. Besides, it's not like you're gonna meet him anytime soon. Seems like the cops don't have a clue.
We don't know what they know. You used to work at CNRI, right?
A couple months ago, when I showed you Dad's notebook, you seemed to know something.
You need to stop asking these things.
Just me, he said. He tried the just me approach. Now we bring in the big guns. Oh, this is one of the coolest fucking things, dude.
Moira Queen, you have failed this city.
This is so cool!
Can you imagine what would happen to China, the world's second largest economy, if all air travel in and out of China were to be grounded indefinitely?
You want to destabilize China's economy.
It's not what I want, but rather my employer. We have enough missiles here to shoot down any aircraft approaching the mainland, especially once a rogue element in China's own military claims responsibility.
You should have killed me. Because I wanted to do it.
I said I need you alive, but I can kill everyone you care about.
Because all I know is the copycat, he torched every record down at UNIDAC. And all we got are phone records, and they show that this Markov guy, he made a couple of calls to an unclaimed line at Merlin Global.
That's convenient.
You know that copycat archer?
Yeah.
Turns out he's connected to Merlin Global somehow.
So what, we just show up at Merlin Global and hope the hood shows up too?
Do not hurt my son.
Tell me what the Undertaking is and I won't have to.
Leave my son alone!
What is Malcolm Merlin planning?
I can't tell you! No! Malcolm is planning to level the glades!
How?
There's a device.
What device?
He says that it can cause an earthquake. It was invented by UNIDAC Industries. Malcolm used my company's applied sciences to turn it into a weapon.
Why would you get involved in something like this?
My husband, he got involved without my knowing. He was just trying to do some good. His decisions left me vulnerable to Malcolm, and I had no choice. I had to protect my family and my children.
This device, where is it?
I don't know.
If you don't tell me, I can't stop Merlin.
Oh, you can't stop him.
I need you to dig up everything you can on UNIDAC Industries.
You know the latest, what the media's
The
calling.
UNIDAC massacre.
There's no way this timing is a coincidence.
Oliver, there's a website claiming the police suspect the copycat archer.
What? So the other Archer works for Merlin?
He's tying up loose ends, erasing all evidence this device exists so no one can trace the devastation back to him.
All right, so you're gonna have a point of conversation with Mr. Merlin.
Well, even if I take out Merlin, the other Archer is still out there. He can set off the device. We need to find it. Are you hacking into the Merlin Global mainframe?
We need to get you back into uniform.
Everything is proceeding to your plan.
I'm assuming that's supposed to be Amanda Waller, but they don't have an actress picked out yet, so they didn't want to go all in on it.
We discovered a few phone calls between one of the UNIDAC victims and someone at the Merlin Global Group.
If someone from Merlin Global is involved with those deaths, I want them found as much as you do. Give me more to go on than some phone calls, and I will help you in any way that I can.
Someone at Merlin Global could be connected to their copycat Archer. Any chance you can have a little snoop around their computer systems?
We'll need a warrant.
No, we'll need a judge who owes me a favor. You never did tell me what had you and Merlin on the outs.
Oliver. I know. Say it. You think I'm crazy. I mean, Oliver, he cheated on me. He broke my heart. He led Sarah to her death, and you would probably rather drink acid than see me with him again.
Since Queensbury back, he's different. I'll deny ever having said that.
You know, you can just say this isn't working.
This isn't working.
I love the Lenovo sponsorship, the blatant Lenovo sponsorship.
Unless I can can waltz up to Merlin's mainframe and plug in my tablet directly. There's no way of getting that location.
We're gonna have to break in. Oliver Queen, I have an 11:30 with Tommy Merlin.
I have a super deluxe, a big belly buster for a Mr. Andrews.
You order food?
Yeah, I'm addicted to Big Belly Burger.
Never had it.
How Shmurda was he?
Mr. Andrews got his lunch.
One belly buster with benzodiazepine.
Sleep tight. Mainframe's on 25, guys. This is as close as I can get you.
Don't look down. Hold on to me tight.
I imagined you saying that under different circumstances. Very platonic.
Very platonic. Oh, wait, is that Helena's crossbow? That's Helena's fucking crossbow!
Security patrols in a 10-minute cycle. I'll have my meeting with Tommy and be back in 9, okay? I thought it was past time we talked. Let's start with Laurel, since you're still in love with her. So are you. Laurel makes her own decisions. And she chose you. That's all I came to say.
By the way, I do notice that he still has the scars here and here from when Dig punched him out.
Felicity's about to have some ahead of schedule company.
Hold tight, I'm on my way.
Oliver.
Mr. Merlin, Tommy and I just had a little unfinished business.
Felicity.
Just a few more seconds.
I'm sorry, I have to go. There are some investors waiting for me at my club.
I'm heading out to a meeting myself. I'll walk you down to the lobby.
She's gonna get made, Oliver.
Got held up heading back upstairs.
Ollie? I just saw Tommy.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna run back up. I don't want to be late.
Oh, I thought you just came down.
There you are. Thanks a lot, man. This was snuck past security. One of Merlin Jr.'s bimbos. She's pissed he never called her back.
Copy that.
Is that your friend Roy?
Yeah, he gave me a ride.
Thea, what are you really doing here?
We're trying to find the vigilante.
What?
Roy's been kind of obsessed with him since he saved his life at the subway, and I overheard Detective Lance saying that the other archer was connected to Merlin Global somehow.
Roy, we haven't met. I'm Thea's disapproving older brother. Don't mess around with the hood. He's a psychopath, he's dangerous, and anyone who gets near him winds up dead. That will not be my sister. Do you hear me?
The vigilante's not too fond of guys who sell vertigo. I know a guy who claims he still has a stash to sell.
Did you not hear what my brother said?
No offense, Thea, but your brother's kind of a wimp.
Don't say that. My brother survived 5 years alone on an island. 5 years. I thought I had lost him.
Yeah? Well, I lost someone too. And they aren't coming back.
Who?
It doesn't matter.
I don't remember
That
this.
is why I need to find him. So he can teach me to be like him. I'm not losing anyone else ever again.
If you don't give this up, you're gonna lose me.
Better now than later.
Divorce is an extreme reaction.
Well, considering the circumstances, I find it somewhat reserved. Or do you think I believe that my abduction on the night you told me that I was getting too close to your conspiracy was a coincidence?
No, you were in danger. This arrangement, it saved your life.
Well, that's ironic, because it feels like you've destroyed it.
I do feel bad for Moira, but I completely understand where Walter's coming from.
Merlin Global cybersecurity is off the charts. I wasn't the only one. Somebody else tried hacking into Merlin Global systems. Same pathways I use, same result.
You're saying that someone else was looking for Merlin's connection to Unidac?
Name's Felicity Smoke.
I don't remember this.
I also took the liberty of uploading a Trojan to Merlin's system. Figured it might come in handy.
That's smart. If Merlin thinks he's been compromised, it'll help if we know first.
Can you locate the seismic device?
I'm working on it, but there's at least a teraflop of data to go through.
My father, he told me that he failed the city. Asked me to right his wrongs, but I never knew what he meant until now. I promised myself that when I crossed all these names off the list, I'd be done. But taking down these people, it doesn't honor him. I was just treating the symptoms while the disease festered. I stopped the Undertaking. I wipe out the disease.
I just want to point out that's him saying that is very similar to what he said in Legacies when he said the reason that he doesn't fight street crime. So here him reinforcing that message, saying that the people on the list are essentially the symptoms of the disease, like street crime was, or like he thought street crime was, and the Undertaking is now what the list was. Bringing that back around, dude, this is sick. These last 2 episodes were real good.
You would hang up the hood?
Merlin's plan is what I returned from the island to stop. Ever since I've been back, we've been doing this dance. We come together, and then I pull away. Something pulls me away. But I think, finally, then something might be over.
I forgot this was the moment of the show that they played Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. I'm just vibing to the song, dude. Oh, and of course, Tommy sees this. And yeah, that's gotta, especially after what Oliver told him earlier, that's gotta be hard to see. Right there, there's his Wrapup tattoo. Right there. And some of the scars are still on him, too.
Felicity found a Markov device.
You take the device, I'll take Merlin.
To the people of China and citizens of the world, I make this statement voluntarily, taking responsibility for the shooting of Ferris Air Flight 637 to protest the People's Republic of China's treatment of me for betraying and abandoning me to the island of Lianyu.
Thank you.
Yeah, oh, damn, right. And I knew it happened, too, and it was still shocking that he just did it.
Malcolm Merlin, you have failed this city.
And how have I done that?
The Undertaking.
Oliver, the device is gone.
I don't know how you got that Trojan onto my system, but it prompted me to take precautions. This city needs what is about to happen in order to survive. The people who are destroying it from the inside need to be erased from the map.
Let's start with you.
Oh, that's so cool!
Ironic, isn't it? Last Christmas, I almost killed you. A few months ago, you saved my life. And now you're here trying to kill me. You should make up your mind.
Malcolm is not playing games anymore. Straight up, he says, I almost killed you. Did he leave a dent in that pillar with a kick? Oh! Oh! And you see that him kicking him is the same way that he did in... What's it called? He's like, oh, fuck! That's where it ends! I'm gonna give the plot here a 3. This is a great episode with a lot of important narrative beats and decisions, and it makes everything in the episode feel important and special. Malcolm's not fucking around anymore since the Undertaking is only a few days away, and he's deciding to tie up all the loose ends. It says die up all the loose ends in my script! I'm keeping this in! I'm keeping this in! Malcolm's not fucking around anymore since the Undertaking is only days away, and he's deciding to tie up all the loose ends. Having Dig suit up for Moira's interrogation scene was really smart, and god, I just love that scene so much. It's one of my favorite little scenes of Arrow Season 1. Another thing I found to be really smart is that even though Team Arrow knows Malcolm's the big bad, they don't know that he's the Dark Archer, so they feel the need to plan for the Dark Archer carrying out Malcolm's plan. It's smart. Subtly smart, but smart. I did feel that Thea and Roy's subplot kinda felt intrusive and took away from the episode, which is weird considering that Roy's a character that I like, and Thea is a character who got better once Roy was introduced. Probably just because it's the weakest subplot in the episode, and Thea showing up at the same time as Quentin and Hilton are having that discussion is so convenient, dude. I know that that's kinda the point of it, but it's still, like, it feels convenient. And Laurel's scenes also took away from the episode, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, I love a good Arrowverse romance, especially one of the very few healthy ones. But because Laurel's not in the know about the team yet, her scenes take away from what we're really interested in. That being the game of cat and mouse between Oliver and Malcolm. But even the stuff we are interested in has a few holes in it. For example, the sequence at Merlin Global is pretty unbelievable when you really start to think about it. Dig has to apply for a position at Merlin Global, do an interview, get hired, and start working there all in the same afternoon. Not to mention that Felicity just so happens to have a card that can get into the server room with no explanation. I guess it's supposed to be implied that she gets it from Dig when he pays her, but we also don't see her take it out of the cash he gave her, so it's a detail that never gets explained. And by the way, how'd Dig get up to the 25th floor to get Felicity out of that situation when Oliver and Felicity needed to climb up there from an elevator shaft? And the success of Team Arrow's plan also revolves just completely around an additional security guard wanting to share Dig's lunch. If the other guard had brought lunch from home that day, the Glades would have gotten quaked apart. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a fun sequence, but it really does require you to not think about it that much or actively turn your brain off. You know, kind of like Thor Love and Thunder. Characterization's a 5, though. I got most of my thoughts out during the episode, though, so I don't really have much to talk about here. I appreciate that Dig gave Moira the chance to explain herself to give Oliver some reassurance and closure. Dig's a good guy, even if he didn't think that Moira deserved the explanation. I do definitely think Oliver should have waited until the ordeal with the Undertaking was over before just going straight to Laurel's, but when that's my biggest complaint about the characters, that means the episode put in the work to get them right. Malcolm's still as fantastic as ever, Tommy's still understandably mad at Oliver for still being in love with his girlfriend, Laurel is still Laurel, and even though Roy and Thea had a big fight, I could understand where they were both coming from. Though I don't think we ever find out who Roy lost that made him want to be taught to fight by Oliver, and I don't think it's ever even brought up again. Visuals are a 4. Having John in the suit for Moira's interrogation was really cool. Like, there's no word for that scene other than cool. Plus, there's all the other cool stuff in the episode, like Malcolm catching Oliver's arrow, that chilling shot of Tommy outside Laurel's apartment, that shot of Malcolm walking away from that explosion in the Unidac lab, hinting at Amanda Waller, the callback to the pilot when Walter returns home, Yao Fei's death, and that shot of Malcolm breaking Oliver's bow and then proceeding to kick the shit out of him just like in Year's End. And importance and entertainment are pretty clearly both getting a 5. That gives Darkness on the Edge of Town a score of 22 out of 25. Now let's get into the wrap-up. The Undertaking establishes that Walter was kidnapped on December 12th. What's important to note about this is that, 1, why are you throwing a Christmas party 12 days before Christmas? And 2, the episode Year's End also aired on December 12th. There are very few times that the Arrowverse actually establishes the timeline of its series, so I found this notable and wanted to call it out. Also, they reuse the audio of an interaction between Dig and Felicity during the Merlin Global sequence in Darkness on the Edge of Town. However, the one that happens over the comms is quieted down, signaling to the audience that this interaction is happening over the comms.
Felicity. Just a few more seconds. Felicity. What? Just a few more seconds.
And finally, I just realized that out of the Queen and Merlin families, it's Moira and Malcolm that are part of the Undertaking, while Robert Queen and Rebecca Merlin are the dead ones. The ones participating names both start with M, and the dead ones both start with R. Just found that to be an interesting coincidence. But anyway, that is it for this episode, guys. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. That'd be greatly appreciated. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already so that you can join us as soon as freaking possible. And while I'm plugging everything else, be sure to click the bell so that you get notified whenever we upload one of these crappy videos. But apart from that, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys. This is Demigod Shmurda. Edge!